Alrighty, part two. This is Travis Wayne Goodsell. We're going over It's Me, Jessie's videos. She's a critic of the church. She's got a video that explains why she's a critic of the church. But we're going over her video, LDS Secrets, Freemasonry, the Occult, and Satanist Symbols. And so I had to try to figure out how to word that so that those who go to her site see my video under that one, and yet still make it so that Mormons will go to it and click on it. So yeah, it's a long title, because it's a long title when I have to put my name in a second frame. Alright, so where we left off, it was an introduction, basically. I'm defending the church, sort of. I'm actually doing video commentary of critics of the church. And we're starting with Jessie. And I'm going to explain where they go right, where they go wrong. And in the first one, we discussed where Jessie was incomplete in her research. There are two branches of Freemasonry. That's crucial to understanding. And it's also crucial to understanding who was in which. Because the Smiths and Cowdreys were in the Grand Lodge. The Youngs and the Kimballs were in the Scottish Rites. You have to understand that if you're going to understand the reason for the anti-Masonic movement of the disappearance of William Morgan. And notice the Smith family embraced William Morgan, because when they started baptisms for the dead, among the first to be baptized for the dead was William Morgan. So there is a connection. And Joseph Smith Jr., William Morgan's widow, she married a Freemason in the lodge of William Morgan, so a friend of the family. He was like exceedingly old, but that's why, if you don't understand the culture back then, women were not capable or allowed to be independent, live on their own, take care of themselves, let alone take care of kids without a husband. It was the husband that had to take care of the family. And so she married an old man who was a friend of the family because he could take care of her. That's all he was. He was just a token to care for her. And she lived right across the street in Nauvoo from Joseph Smith Jr. And so there is a direct connection with William Morgan. So when she talks about... no, it was that link that I was on. When that link talked about the connection between William Morgan, he just stops it. He just leaves it there. He doesn't go on to further investigate the connection. And that's one of the other errors I pointed out, is that you can't just stop once you got information that you can trust and believe in. If you don't go for the big picture, you're going to be wrong. And so as awesome as Jessie is with her formatting style, which I really like and appreciate, she would benefit by these little tips that I'm giving her. So yes, I'm defending the church, but it's not the kind of defense that the church wants and will accept. And so I'm fully expecting Mormons to be putting thumbs down, which means that they believe their church is false. Sorry, Mormons, that's what it means. You have to leave your church because you put thumbs down on my videos. It's that simple. Go to my contest video. See for yourself. So, All right. Let's. Yeah, and also to rehash the first one, she uh, made the slight mistake of saying Oliver Cowdery was a Freemason. It was William Cowdery when we fact-checked her. Oliver Cowdery, his father, William Cowdery, was a Freemason. And I explained that Joseph Smith Jr., Oliver Cowdery, even Brigham Young, were not listed in membership for any Freemasonic organization. And people find that curious and odd because they don't understand the process. It's just like when you're investigating the church, when missionaries go out and they give you the lessons, you're investigating the church. That's how it is in Freemasonry. You have to show an interest in Freemasonry. And so you go to the meetings that you're allowed to go to for the general public. And then once you demonstrate a consistent level of interest, then they let you in. And so Smith Sr. And Hiram did not become, well, Hiram was a baby in 1805, but he was named after Freemason, and then Smith Sr. had Tree of Life visions, which were included in the Book of Mormon, by the way. Plagiarism. So Smith Sr. clearly was going to Freemasonic meetings in Vermont, along with William Cowdery, who became a Mason on the rolls, as indicated. And so, yeah, and that's why Joseph Smith Sr. spelled his son's name according to Hiram Abiff, and why he had Tree of Life dreams, and then joined when he moved to Palmyra finally, because there was an anti-Freemasonic movement into Western New York, which was why everybody was leaving the East Coast into Western New York. It's because of the rise of Freemasonic temple building. And yeah, anyway, I'm not part of the video topic here. And so understand, you got to get your facts correct, and that because I also went over that there's a distinguishing feature with Joseph Smith's temple rituals and Freemasonic temple rituals. So Joseph Smith obviously had been influenced and attending the Freemasonic meetings as often as he could, but never became a member, and then 1826 came along, ruined it for him. So he knew of Freemasonry, but he didn't know the levels up. And if you look at William Morgan's name book, it wasn't him, because anyway, they're not the same. It matches more with Brigham Young's changes, and that's how you know. Brigham Young made changes to the temple after Joseph Smith died, starting with adding a drama play of the creation, the fall, and the other stuff that we now know and cherish today. And so that was the first change. And then, getting here to Utah, Brigham Young made the Freemasonic merge. Okay, so now we can begin after 10 minutes of update.
His brother Hiram and his father Joseph Smith Sr., as well as Oliver Cowdery, among others, very closely related to him and close people in his life. They were all Freemasons.
William Cowdery.
I have to add at this point, listen up. the rituals taken from Freemasonry could not have come from Solomon's time, as the Mormons claim and as the Mormons will tell you.
Good girl. Because
Masonry did not originate until the 1600s. So that's a
1500s for Scottish rites.
There is no way this goes back to Solomon's time, and there
Grand
is
Lodge.
absolutely no relation.
Could be Scottish rites, and then Grand Lodge came
LDS
after.
Temple ceremonies and the temple rituals that happened in the Bible and in Solomon's time. Nothing, not at all. They are completely different. Wanted to stress that. Also, they claim that it's sacred and not secret. But the rites within the temple, even though they say they're sacred but not secret, they are very much secret, and they have cult-like similarities. Up until the 1990s, initiates were
see, because the First Presidency is now added to the introduction to the endowment session, where they say, you must keep it a secret, don't tell anybody. That was after it leaked.
Required to make a blood oath. They discontinued it since then, but they also actually use the phrase guarded by solemn covenants and obligations of secrecy.
Yep.
So how is that not?
Yeah, she's talking about the covenant that I got to experience firsthand when I went through I got my endowments, whatever they want to call it, who cares. I went through the temple rituals in the Los Angeles Temple in 1989, right before my mission in May of that same year. So it was like right close together. I think I went the beginning of May, I think, like the 6th, I believe. Because when I looked up the new names listing that's online, I realized, oh, there's the day. And so yeah, it was right before my mission on the 17th of May. And yes, I was like, what have I gotten myself into? They want me to kill myself? So that's, no, not good, Mormons.
Secret. Of course it's secret.
Of course.
And they can claim that it's sacred as well, but
I love her
definitely secret. I want to give a quote from Fawn Brody's book,
Oops.
No Man Knows My History.
Oops.
She wrote a biography on Joseph
Secondhand
Smith,
source.
and it says, the Mormon temple endowment ceremony is without a doubt taken from the Masonic ceremonies Joseph Smith participated in just weeks before he introduced the temple.
See, she's going off of the Brigham Young records. Brigham Young justified his work and his changes to Joseph Smith, just like with polygamy. He had to say Joseph did it. Joseph did it in secret. And again, the temple, how is that done? In secret. You're catching on. When things are done in secret, you can then say, oh yeah, he did it, and it was all in secret. You know, similar to the Jewish oral tradition, not written tradition. Yeah, we can believe your oral tradition. Write it down. Have a documented evidence. Don't keep things a secret, because we're not going to believe you when you try to claim a secret oral history. And so, yeah.
Endowments. The grips, tokens, covenants, secret words, keys, etc. were word for word the same when first introduced. Members who were Masons previous to Joseph joining the fraternal order unashamedly referred to the Mormon endowment as Celestial Masonry. You'll find that in her book, page 279 through 283.
Secondary source.
Also, Heber C. Kimball himself.
See? Scottish rites. Remember, Scottish rites. Heber C. Kimball,
who was a Mason, said,
Scottish
we have
rites.
a true Masonry. The Masonry of today is received from the apostasy which took place in the days of Solomon and David. They have now and then a thing that is correct, but we have the real thing.
Understand the context there. She misses it. Mormons miss it. I don't miss it. because I did the research, found out he's from Scottish rites.
Interesting. Again, he went back to Solomon's time. No, like Masonry did not go back.
But that's the ritual in Freemasonry with Hiram Abiff. He was murdered at Solomon's temple, and then they do a search to find the body. That's all part of the ritual. That's why they talk in this code. That's why the Book of Mormon has the Freemasonic code of Nephi building a temple patterned after the Temple of Solomon. Freemasonic temple is what he's putting in there. In the Promised Land. Code. Just like Cohen instead of Trump. Code.
At all. And the Old Testament temple rituals and what they did
had nothing to do with the Old Testament. That's the cover story. They use what people understand and then completely change the definition into a coded language. That's how it's done. And so, yes, the Book of Mormon talks about Jesus. Guess what? It's not. It's not Jesus they're talking about. It's the last days Messiah. That's the code. How do I get this across to people?
Have zero to do with the endowment ceremonies or anything that goes on within Mormonism or Masonry for that matter. Quite the opposite, actually.
Do you have a sister?
Also, David
She'd have to be much older, I guess.
Says the clearest evidence of Masonic influence on
Maybe
the
your mother.
Nauvoo
Is she
temple
divorced?
ceremony is a comparison of texts. 3 elements of the Nauvoo endowment and its contemporary Masonic ritual resemble each other so closely that they were sometimes identical.
Yeah.
These are the tokens, signs, and the penalties.
Of Brigham Young.
So that is found in his book, Mysteries of Godliness, A History of Mormon Temple Worship, Chapter 3, Joseph Smith's Ritual. Quite interesting. And then
Who was it
even
that said that?
Influence on the Nauvoo temple ceremony is a comparison of texts. 3 now and then a thing that is correct, but we have the real thing. Interesting. Again, he went back to Solomon.
Who was the author of the other book you were quoting?
Masonry did not go back then at all. And the Old Testament temple rituals and what they did have zero to do with the endowment
Come on,
ceremonies
get to the
or
author.
anything that goes on within Mormonism or Masonry for that matter. Quite the opposite, actually. Also, David Buerger says the clearest evidence of Masonic
secondary
on
source.
the Nauvoo temple ceremony is a comparison of texts. 3 elements of the Nauvoo endowment and its contemporary Masonic ritual resemble each other so closely that they were sometimes identical. These are the...
He's quoting people who went after Joseph Smith was murdered, who went through Brigham Young's changes. And so apparently Brigham Young did some Freemasonic merging in Nauvoo prior to Utah. So understand that. Immediately after Joseph Smith died, Brigham Young turned it into a drama play. Then what she's claiming, this author is claiming, is that he also added Freemasonry. That's what Brigham Young's intention was, having been of the Scottish rites, having just barely had a brand new Scottish rites Freemasonic temple, and then it gets burnt to the ground when the anti-Freemasonic movement happened, and they wanted their temple back. Do you not see what he did? Joseph Smith makes temples. Kirtland, then Nauvoo. After the anti-Masonic movement of, hey, temples bad. Because Freemasons changed the names of their temples to cultural halls. You know, those things in your ward buildings where you play basketball and nude volleyball, as an old woman was quoted as saying, "They play nude volleyball in their temples." We just do shirts and skins. Oh, man. Are you catching on, guys? You got to look at the big picture. And so what Brigham Young wanted nothing to do with temple worship. He wanted a Freemasonic lodge. He wanted it back. And Joseph Smith's family took it away from him by helping William Morgan. And so, yes, he infiltrated the church, rose to power, took over, and did the changes he wanted. Just like my mom told me as a kid, if you want to do it, wait until you get out of the house and then you can do whatever you want. When you become a parent, then you can do it. So, yeah, that's how it all works, guys. Understand the context.
The tokens, signs, and the penalties. So that is found in his book, Mysteries of Godliness, A History of Mormon Temple Worship.
Secondary source.
Joseph Smith's ritual. Quite interesting. And then even today, the Masonic emblems, such...
Yeah, again, quite interesting. She believes the secondary source material because she wants to believe it, because she doesn't like the church. And that's a common theme of critics. It's a common theme of Mormons in the reverse.
As the compass, square, level, pentagram, the all-seeing eye, sun, moon, stars, etc. There are more. They are displayed on the walls at the LDS.
Sun, moons, and stars, all those signs, in and of themselves are innocent. They attach their definitions and their meaning to them. Understand that about symbolism. So, Hindus, for example, they have the swastika. They've had it long before Hitler. It represented peace in their religion. Hitler comes around, destroys the whole concept of what the swastika meant for Hindus, and now it's an evil symbol of devil worshipping, satanic, evil atrocities of killing Jews. Do you see how that works? And so when you want to encode a language, you use what's common in society, and then you twist the definition to your own secret combination, as the Book of Mormon calls it.
LDS temples, as well as the exterior of many Mormon buildings, especially in Salt Lake City, Utah.
So he's going to do the pentagram thing now.
And this is interesting. The temple ceremonies were actually performed in the local Masonic halls in the early days of the church. Now I want to talk about Joseph Smith and his occult.
Notice she said Masonic halls, cultural halls. She's not making the connection. They didn't have a temple in Utah County or Utah Territory. Well, Deseret, the kingdom of Deseret. And so they had to call it cultural halls for fear of the public rising up again and saying, "Don't you dare build those temples." As a religion, oh, okay, temple, like the Temple of Solomon in the Old Testament. Okay, that's fine. See how they're able to fool people when you encode things?
Practices. He and his father were both involved in the occult practice known as money digging. This involved special...
It's not an occult practice, it was a business scam. There were no rituals performed, no sacrifice of the firstborn daughter. Haven't you guys, they don't have metal coat hangers anymore, do they? But in our day, we had metal coat hangers. You unfold them, point them in an L shape, hold the smaller end and just have them dangling. Don't grip them, just have them dangling. And then walk over your toilet. It's a magic trick. The rods cross when you get over water. This was the scam of diviners, or rodsmen, as Joseph Smith Sr. was called, a master rodsman, or a grand, or whatever they call them. I'll call him master rodsman. And so it was the same principle, that you would go around telling people, hey, I can locate treasure with these divining rods. See, it works with water. I can do it with treasure. Magic. Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. And so, yeah, Joseph Smith and Sr. also was going around trying to make money by searching for gold for other people who would pay them. Dum 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 dum. So, yeah, it was just a scam. And so, yeah, because they think, oh, it's got to be here. We just need to dig deep enough. And so, yeah, Joseph Smith went through a couple of different guys, not just the one he talks about in this Joseph Smith history. And so, like father, like son. This was not a cult. There was no indication of any occult practice. In fact, Joseph Smith Sr. is recorded as having reported the police, or the militia back then. We've done away with the militia in our land, but it was either his aunts or step aunts, actually. Yeah, I believe it was his step aunts of I think Lucy Mack, or was it Cowdery? Because they were cousins, but yeah, there were three sisters, I believe, who Joseph Smith Sr. was a part of testifying against in court proceedings to accuse them of witchcraft. So, yeah, the Smiths were anti-witchcraft, anti-Satanism, anti-occult. The divining rod thing, that was all a magic trick, a business scam. Don't fall for this once you hear certain things and people claim it's got to be interpreted this way. Okay, I'll believe you because I don't like the church. So, but yeah, awesome history if we get the history right. Okay, it's almost time for me to get my laundry and then go shopping, and we're nearing the end, and I think I have let my other video lapse because I see that it's ready for saving. So we're backpiling here. So you're not going to get this until later on in the day. So this was part 2 and 513. I should write that down because I'm going to have to delete the internet. So I don't want to lose my page or lose my place for part 3. See, I wanted to do a history of the church, and this is, I guess, is going to be the closest I'm going to get to it. Because, as you can tell, this is going to be volumes of hour-long videos to cover the full, true history of the LDS Church. So, okay. Part 2 is now adieu. Brethren, adieu, as the coded message is. You missed that from the from Jacob, didn't you? Jacob, also a coded name? Well, let's see. I need to stop this video, not hers.